Good evening. My name is Roger Sherman, and I'm the pitmaster and owner of the District Pit Barbecue Catering Company in Washington, D.C. Our mission is to provide the most savory and delicious barbecue you've ever had by using real wood and real smoke to flavor our meats the way people have for thousands of years. We make food taste the way food is supposed to taste. My destiny as a barbecue chef was solidified the day I was born. On Christmas Day, my mother went into labor with me while she was cooking the turkey, and dinner never made it to the table. The running joke in my family my whole life was that I owed mom a turkey, so I started smoking them on my patio till I could make one that was good enough for her. The District Pit was born in a moment of panic when my wife and I realized we had no savings for our teenage daughters to go to college. We decided to start the District Pit, and 5 years later, both of our girls are halfway through their college experience, riding the wave of our small barbecue empire. We'd like to expand that small empire to include the District Pit's urban winery. The global pandemic has created an opportunity for the hospitality industry to create new ways to provide for their patrons. A partnership between the District Pit, the museum, and the mansion on O Street and local wineries will provide such an opportunity. We'll give you delicious barbecue paired with local wines and an exquisite location to enjoy them. We'll transform the mansion's secret garden into an urban winery complete with 20 tables. For the cost of $100, you'll receive an unlimited time museum tour, a barbecue dinner, and ample amounts of adult beverages. We'll limit table times to 2 hours and turn each table twice, recognizing gross sales of $12,000 per event. We'll launch the Urban Winery Labor Day weekend and run it 1 day per weekend, concluding the weekend prior to Thanksgiving, giving us 12 events and $144,000 in sales. For providing the location, the museum and the mansion will take 25% of the gross. For providing the delicious barbecue, the District Pit will take 25% of the gross at a 33% food cost. Slightly different story with the wineries. Due to DC liquor laws, we'll be required to purchase all of the alcohol up front. This will allow us to negotiate more favorable case pricing and then sell the alcohol at the recommended winery prices. For taking on that responsibility, the District Pit will take an additional 50% of the gross. Marketing will be a collaborative effort between all parties involved, including social media campaigns and use of the extensive mailing lists of the mansion and those of the wineries. Our ask is for $25,000. In order to make this dream a reality, we'll need to purchase the food and the wine. Those will be our biggest expenses. We'd like to get an on-site smoker to keep at the mansion to create that barbecue ambiance we're all familiar with by burning hickory wood in the background. We'll create a marketing campaign complete with social media commercials similar to those that we've done with the mansion in the past, and we'll need to pay our bartenders and our support staff. And in conclusion, if you're not interested in sitting down and having a drink with us, perhaps you'll be interested in our catering services. You can reach out to us at thedistrictpit.com. We're on Instagram at District Pit, and on YouTube, we've got a barbecue food demo show called Pit Perspective. We'd love for you to check that out. Thank you for your time. We appreciate your support, and we look forward to serving you.
First of all, I was really impressed with the presentation. Even when my Wi-Fi was going in and out, I was able to hear a lot of it, almost all of it. And I like the origin story. I think that's great. I mean, that a good story will sell the hell out of your brand. I mean, that'll get you going, you know. And I think that you did a great job with that, and it all made sense. And I guess my first thought would be, you know, in terms of competition, I don't. Maybe you mentioned that, but I might have missed that. In what ways do you think that you have unique abilities to kind of move ahead of the competition or to distinguish yourself at the very least?
Great question. So our competition is anybody who is serving food and drink. I mean, that's pretty simple. Where we're going to look to distinguish ourselves is the fact that we're partnering with the wineries. So in the DC metro area, there's a very nice wine culture here. The issue is the majority of the wineries are an hour to an hour and a half outside of the city. We're partnering with those wineries to bring that wine into the city for a location that's easier to access. So if you're in the District of Columbia, you can get to this with a simple Uber ride. If you're willing to get on the metro, you can get to the metro. We're 2 blocks from the metro. And this is a location that's fairly exclusive. So it creates that same type of ambiance that you would get in the winery. We'll tap into the wineries' clientele. Because we're partnering with those guys, they're going to want to promote us as well. And their clientele that lives in the District of Columbia can be sent to the mansion on O Street rather than having to come all the way out to Virginia. Sure, eventually they'll go back to Virginia because they'll enjoy that space. But on occasion, maybe they don't want to drive that drive. We'll provide them with delicious barbecue. We're going to give them a beautiful space, and you're going to get that wine from those wineries that you like in Virginia. So our competition has essentially become our partner.
Okay. That's my main question. I'll let the other guys go, and then I'm going to ask one more before we're done. But go ahead, guys.
Mr. Sherman, the presentation was phenomenal. I enjoyed it. And I love what you're doing. My only question is, so what you're seeing right now with a lot of brands that are specifically focused on brick and mortar types of businesses is that, obviously with COVID happening, that was a rare kind of thing. But also, how do you feel that you're going to prepare for something, maybe a variant or some other kind of event that maybe causes people not to come in? Have you thought through, so I know you mentioned the catering services, but have you thought through potentially doing, in-home experiences? I mean, how do you take this to the next level to be able to still get that experience to people, even if they can't come into the wineries?
Couple of things about that. So the original idea for this, what I've presented you today is actually a scaled down version of, scaled up version of something that we actually did during the pandemic. So I partnered with the museum and the mansion last summer and did exactly what I am describing to you, minus the wine. So they have a large patio. It spans the length of 5 row houses in Washington, D.C. Under normal circumstances, you could get 100 to 150 people back there for a wedding. We'll set up 20 tables, decrease that number in half, and created that socially distanced ambiance that people were looking for. We only ran it for 4 weeks in August during a pandemic, and it was relatively successful. So we're confident that the way that it is set up currently will sustain itself if there is a variant. Obviously, if there's a complete and total shutdown, we have to go to something else. But we're confident that the way that we're set up, if we were able to make this work during the pandemic, we're confident that we can make it work at this point with the addition of adult beverages, tapping into a more high-scale clientele, and then creating that continued socially distant arena.
Yeah, thank you. I would just say to keep thinking through what those solutions would be if you had to go to other things. As an investor, I would want to know, what some of those alternatives would be. I think if you get that, that puts you far ahead of everyone.
Great. So the last thing I'll say on that exact same point was last year when we had no opportunity to do catering, what the district pit actually did was pivot to individual platters. So we put together a plan every Monday where we would put out a platter, which would be 2 meats and 2 sides or 2 meats and 3 sides. We would remarket that on Wednesday. We would shut off orders at noon on Thursday. And every Saturday at noon, we would have a pickup of those individual platters. That sustained our business for the entire course of 2020. We actually had our best year in existence during the pandemic, doing exactly what you're describing.
Thank you.
Hey, Roger, amazing pitch. I have 2 questions. So my first question is, when you were explaining this pitch, you were only speaking about the experience end. Now, what you just said recently, though, is you have another end of the business. Is this an additional business that you're creating, like with the plates?
So the Urban Winery is an expansion of my already existing catering business. So the District Pit is a barbecue catering company, and we've done well, and we're happy with our successes. But we're looking to expand. We have a great partner in the O Street Mansion who's given us the opportunity to do a couple of things, and we spun this idea to them. Like I said, last year when we were doing the barbecue there, we spun the idea to them in the wineries, and they were all for it. So this is an expansion of the already existing catering business that we have.
Awesome. I love experience. I come from the event background, so I love the idea of intimate, maybe a more expensive ticket, but a experience that people will pay for, especially when it comes to food and drinks. I've heard about the old mansion. I mean, I've seen it. I've never actually experienced it. But overall, I love the idea. I wish you much success with that. I don't really have any other questions other than that. I think it sounds good.
Thank you. I will address one thing you threw out there. You talked about the ticket. The cost of the ticket at $100, we came up with that price with very specific reasoning. So we'll actually give you back product for 100% of your ticket. My barbecue dinner that I sell on the weekends is $25. The mansion tour is roughly $25. And then after that, we're going to ensure that you walk away with at least $50 worth of alcohol. If you choose to purchase more, great for us, great for you as well. But you'll get all of your money back in product.
And that's how you broke down the percentages?
Yes.
I love it. Great stuff.
Thank you.
Sound like collaboration is key.
It is. If you have the right partners, you can get anything done. I've got strong partners.